Hi, welcome back to episode 6 of this tutorial. In this episode, it's going to be a really exciting one. We're going to create the missiles for the game and do the collision logic too. So, let's get started. New Java class. We're going to name this missile. And this is going to, like every other game object, it's going to extend game object. This is the constructor. Alt-enter to import. And here we're just setting, this could be super.x or this.x, either one doesn't matter. Super.x is calling the superclass game object, or setting the game object superclass x variable to the x being passed in the constructor. This is extending that superclass, so either one really doesn't matter. We'll just do super.y too. And we'll create two variables up here. Actually, to generate the missile speed, we're going to use the class random. Alright, oh, there we go, I'll enter. Of course, we're going to use animation just like we did in the player class. And bitmap. So the reason we're passing the score in the constructor is I had the idea of having the missile go, as the game progresses and the score increases, the missiles have a higher chance of being really fast, and faster and faster and faster. So the range of the missile would be, we'd have like a base speed of 7, then the range of the speed could be a random number between 1 and 30, or between 1 and score over 30. So the base plus unrandomized number between 1 and score over 30. And I've tested it a couple times. I really like these numbers, but you can always configure it to whatever you like for different difficulty levels. But we're also going to cap the missile speed. So here we're assigning the image, we're making the bitmap image array, and once again we're assigning, here's our bitmap image. There are 13 missiles drawn here, and each one, the array is going to be 13 elements, and each missile is a different sprite of the missile turning. That's going to take up one element of the array. So this loop is going to loop through this image and assign each element of the array to each missile. Let's close these other classes. Then we're going to send this array into the animation class. Set the delay to 100. Now of course we need that update and draw class. Update and draw methods, I mean. So something I'm going to do in the update method is set the delay to 100 minus speed. We should just do this here. Don't need a set. What this is going to do is, if the missile is faster, the delay is going to be less, so the missile is going to turn faster. I think that makes sense, right? If the missile is going faster, it also spins faster. So that just adds a little bit to the game. And one more thing we're going to do is override the getWidth method from the superclass game object. And we're just going to return width minus 10, offset it slightly so that if the helicopter collides with the ass of the missile, like the tail, it won't really explode. Because that's not too realistic. Should be able to get past the tail. Alright, let's make some missiles now. like we did for the smoke puffs, I'm going to create an array list. Missiles. I'm going to create missile start time and missile elapsed. And then here in the update method, we're going to add the missiles. And do we want them to be on top of or under the smoke puffs? Let's make them... Oh wait, that's in the draw method, not here. Never mind. So once again, we're using that same timer. I'll add some comments in from the code for last week, or last episode. So what this does is the higher the player's score is, the less delay time is needed to launch a new missile. So as the score goes higher and higher, the missiles will be launching faster and faster. There will be less of a delay time between each missile. And I just like having the first missile always go down the middle. Then the rest of them will have randomized spots. And the X location of this missile is going to be the width of the whole game panel plus 10, so the missile is going to start 10 off of the screen. Right in the middle, height over 2. And here's the tricky part. Now we want to pass into the constructor here the width and the height of the missile. And for this, I'm going to be using paint.net because I like paint.net a lot. And there will be a link in the description to download it and the plugin that I'll be using. But I'm just going to be using paint.net to kind of explain how this works. Here's the same image opened up in paint.net, and using this plugin, grid plugin, going to create a grid size of 15. And we want to make the width and the height that's passed in equivalent to each missile. Notice how each missile takes up just about the same height, pretty much the same height. When we're looping through this image and setting the elements of the array to each sprite of the missile, we want to be consistent with the height and the width. So the height here, each grid is 15 by 15, is going to be 15, and the width here is going to be 45. Is safe. Yeah, 45 is definitely safe. So we're passing in the width first, 45, 15. So notice how each missile takes up 3 boxes with the dimension of 45 by 15. That's why we're sending those in the dimensions of 45 by 15. And then the constructor is also asking us for the score and how many frames or missiles. This is just reset the timer. So now if it's not the first missile, we're going to randomize the Y location for it. So for the Y position of it, I'm going to use so many parentheses. Let's set our random up here. So this is just going to be a randomized position from 0 to the height of the screen. 45 by 15. Those are the dimensions of one missile. Get the score and pass it in, and 13 frames. Why did I put so many parentheses? Alright, that should work. Now we're going to update the missiles, now that we've created them. So we're going to use the collision method here, which I will add in a second. But the collision method is going to take two parameters, two game objects. So it's going to be, this is going to loop through every missile. And then collision is going to check two game objects to see if they collide. Missiles.getI, so the current missile it's looping through, and the player. Player stops playing and will break out of the loop. And if the missile is way off the screen, we're going to remove it. So now we're going to create the collision method. And all this is going to do is return whether game object A and game object B are colliding, which we use over here. And for that, remember when we created the game object class, we created that getRect method, getRectangle method. Now we're going to use that. Import rect. That's strange. Oh, intersex. It's intersex. And lastly, we want to draw the missile. Here's the draw method. Here it is. And using the enhanced for loop, we're just going to loop through every missile missiles. Draw that missile. And let's see how that works out now. Let's run it. So while this loads up, I think the most important part of this video is working with the sprite sheet here. And if you don't get anything out of this video, try to understand how the sprite sheet works and how the animation works by assigning each dimension, or not dimension, each element of the array to each missile image, and then looping through all of these very fast to create the illusion that it is moving or spinning, and how the width and the height are 15 by 45 for each one. Because if you understand this, you can create moving images for almost anything. You can make flying dildos if you wanted to, but whatever you wanted. Alright, there are no missiles. It's not good. I wonder why. Alright, now I'm just trying to figure out why the missiles are not showing up. Missile. Oh. Should be missile elapsed. We don't need to create this variable up here. Let's try it again. Actually, before we test it, let's just have this print to the console. See if this code is reached. Oh, nice. There we go. We have the missiles. They should be moving faster and coming at a faster rate as our score goes up. We don't have the score printed to the screen yet, but we'll do that in a later episode. So let's see, when they collide, the missile disappears, the game pauses. In the next episode, we're going to reset the player back to the starting position when he collides with the missile. And probably add the explosion after that. But we'll reset the game after. There's a fast one. So thanks for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.